2 days of KSA versus USA. If you're wondering, why are they all on this side of the bracket? KSA and USA A teams look like the strongest teams in this event. I would agree. They do look like the strongest teams in the event. However, the reason that they're all on the same side of the bracket is because we wanted to limit the amount of occurrences where teams have to play with high ping. But there you go. There's your first matchup of the day. KSA have sent out TRK and USA have chosen Chronic. Let me just make sure that game audio is turned on for you guys. Hold on a second here. Boom. We've got it. Let me know if the game audio is at an acceptable level. Oh, what a goal early on by Chronic. Fakes out TRK and dribbles it into the near post. Yeah, spam ones in chat if this is a good distribution of audio levels. I've not changed anything since yesterday, but as I'm sure many of you will know, that doesn't mean that there won't be differences, as there often are with sound issues. You know, you change no settings and I go live the next day and it's completely different. Looks like you guys are all spamming one though, so we should be good. So this is the return to ones for TRK. He's been taking a bit of a break from 1v1, but now he's back, and he told me that he really wanted to play in this format. Oh, what a shot. That's going to linger on the goal line, and oh no, it's not actually. TRK correctly reads that it was bouncing out. I thought it was maybe going to linger on the goal line there. That's why I'm commentating and TRK is playing. Chronic actually going to make it 2-0. Flicks to the near post top corner. And Chronic's 2 for 2 on offensive pushes so far. Snosbury's thanks to the 68-month tier 1 and also 6-month prime from Trolltime123, NJ38 with a 3-month prime and 5-month prime from Dare Dr. Frank. Welcome back to all of you. Really appreciate that. Oh my goodness, TRK the savage. Well, it didn't take him too long to get his confidence back. He's already rattled the crossbar and now completely fakes out Chronic. Let's take a look at Chronic's POV here. It's a pretty tough one to see coming. Because Chronic's got a lot of respect for TRK. I'm sure TRK will have a lot of respect for Chronic after his recent major win. Congrats to Chronic on one of the most impressive debut LAN performances that we've ever seen in the history of the game. Is it crazy to say that he's even more up against it now? I would say that he is. I think that just beating TRK in a best of 5 and 1s on the European server, to me, would be more impressive than winning the Rotterdam major, but that, you know, might just be me on that one. You guys can all have your own opinion on it. When it comes to 1v1, upsets are more rare than they are in 3v3. 3v3 is, you know, a lot more prone to upsets. In ones, not so much, and it would be an upset for Chronic to win this. Even though TRK has been out of the one scene compared to previous months, previous years, he's still TRK. 4 months ago, he was the best in the world, or considered by many, including myself, to be the best in the world for 1v1. Chronic's got a great start to the game here. TRK trying to sneak in a challenge. Chronic easily flicks it up and over him for 3-1. What's their ping look like? There you go. So Chronic's on 116. I think he was on 112 at the start of this one. He was hoping to get a 108, 112 server, so we found him a 112, and since then it's actually changed to 116, so a bit unlucky there. He is allowed to request server changes between every game if he so desires, but doesn't seem to be causing him any problems right now. He's up 4-1. Chronic in a great spot, and you know, despite TRK looking pretty effective in attack, Chronic has had no difficulty at all scoring against him. A lot of time left for TRK. He's a very efficient attacker. You expect him to see a lot more than 3 shots on goal between now and the end of the game. He starts to slowly advance. TRK looking to catch Chronic, going for the boost at the wrong time here. Chronic picks a good time to go for it. Another flip reset for TRK, used immediately. Nothing Chronic can't handle. TRK predicts Chronic's move out of the net and now will score his second goal of the game. Pure awareness on that play by the Saudi Arabian player. Just knew Chronic might be low on boost and might be trying to sneak a challenge in behind him. He didn't even have to look to know that Chronic was pushing out the net. TRK is just crushing so many kickoffs here. This is really rough for Chronic. A very difficult position that he finds himself in here. TRK circling round to look for a ground shot. Chronic closed that one off, but still TRK piling on the pressure. Look at this from Chronic though. That's some brilliant defense to actually find 2 angles to 50-50 the ball in that position. Very impressive. TRK looks for the immediate counter-attack down the middle. Chronic not going to give him that angle either. Chronic's defense holding up strong for now, but his boost, not so much. He drops down to 0 again. TRK this time able to slot it right over his shoulder. Tried that same move twice in a row. got it the second time. Are you guys really arguing about Chronic's nationality in the chat? I know that's going to be the most common EU copium that we see. Probably for a while. Another mind game lands for TRK. Chronic's way out of the game. TRK is crushing the kickoff game. This is something that does occasionally happen to Chronic. I'm thinking back to when he was playing Jack on my channel and he jumped in Discord and said, Johnny, what on earth do I do? I can't win a kickoff. So he's got to try and come up with something himself here. And it looks like he has, forcing it round the outside of favorite for match one. You know, if I had to make a prediction on this series and this quarterfinal matchup, I would have to say Saudi Arabia 3-0. Just like I'll say ahead of time, USA 3-0 tomorrow, or maybe 3-1. For me, it depends on what kind of clears we get. Oh, big dunk. Chronic's ahead again. TRK kind of jumped more vertically than he wanted to. It's a huge shot by Chronic. TRK thought that he might be going immediately to the backboard, covered that angle. Chronic dunks it underneath him. That is a good point. It's not like the US players will be as used to this server as the Saudi Arabian players will be. They do, of course, play on European server all the time, which is definitely an advantage, but it's really the only way that we can play out these USA versus KSA matchups. It's not like we have another option, because it's completely unplayable to do. Well, unless you're Khaled in Salt Mine 1, you're not going to win on US server with 150 ping or whatever it is, 160 ping that Saudi Arabian players get over there. Yeah, completely different game there. You know, looking at 160 versus 20 compared to... Well, actually, Chronic's probably going to have the worst ping out of all of the US players because he's a central player. It's another fake. See, TRK's fake Chronic this exact way 3 times this game. Chronic pre-jumping a little bit too high on all these air dribbles. TRK usually has a 50-50 on the back end of these, so it might just be more sensible for Chronic to just dive in and hit the ball on most of these aerial challenges. TRK with a lead. He started off 3 goals down, but he's really controlled the vast majority of this game. Kickoffs have been far more favorable for Saudi Arabian player. Once again, he goes right into the low 50 angle of an air dribble. Not much of a clear there. Chronic's going to score this, surely. Doubles it in for 6-all. TRK trying to pinch it off his own post and didn't get a lot of distance on it. Look, it just kicks off a tiny bit, and that's easy for Chronic to score. He almost missed it, actually. Should have had the first shot into the open net. And of course, the double tap mechanics were there. Chronic with a critical kickoff win. He's lost the majority, but he wins what could be the most important one of the entire game. TRK faking the challenge. Actually recovers onto the backboard. Chronic might look for the demo here. Instead, just slows down. Plays the ball. TRK in a bit of a panic. Can Chronic keep it up? No, he's side onto the play. Game 1. Going the distance into overtime we go. And Chronic pull out what many would consider a miracle win against the KSA A team. He does in game 1. TRK defending the backboard more than the goal. I'm not sure what possessed him to be this high on the wall. Oh, he went for a ceiling challenge. Oh, he fell. He tried to fake a ceiling challenge and then drive back down the wall to save Chronic's shot, but he fell off the ceiling. He didn't turn quickly enough, and that gave Chronic a clean run through to the goal. 1-0 to USA's B team. What a massive upset this could be if Chronic can just keep up this level of play. So far, so good. TRK defensively does not look as comfortable as he usually does. His offense still looks scary, but he didn't have a lot to say when Chronic was on the ball and coming towards him. TRK taking the full time here to prepare himself for game 2. Trying to shake off the rust, it would seem. Has that hiatus lowered his level? Does Chronic smell blood in the water? Only game 2 will tell. Kickoff still did go very much in the favor of TRK in that first game. It really just goes to show how well Chronic played that he was able to win that game despite the fact that he lost the vast majority of kickoffs. I'd love to see more of a strategical mix-up by Chronic. He's tried to switch up which way he's flipping into the ball in the kickoff, but we haven't seen many more switch-ups than that. Again, just trying to wave dash recover, but TRK comes away with possession for the second time. He was thinking about demoing Chronic in the back corner there. Chronic saw it coming. moved into a safe spot. Chronic's dropped the ball off the front end of his car there. Don't think he meant to do that. Looked like he was trying to set up a flick, but the ball was too far forward on his car, so he couldn't get underneath it enough. And he committed for the shot anyway. That gives TRK an easy save and a 2-goal lead. This is the first match of the day, so nobody's played yet. This is match 1 between Saudi Arabia and USA. We will have a minimum of 3 best-of-5s. Like I said before, my prediction is that we will have 3 best-of-5s. I do think that Saudi Arabia have got good matchups across the board here, regardless of what order the teams send their players out in. That's no disrespect to the USA B team, just KSA A team, and the USA A team, for me, are the 2 strongest rosters in this tournament. Yeah, they are on the same side of the bracket. I keep, mentioning this. I know people are going to ask, why are the 2 strongest teams, or at least the teams you think are the 2 strongest teams, on the same side of the bracket? It's because of the fair ping. If KSA play against each other, oh, that's a bit lucky for TRK. He didn't mean to fake that one, but luckily for Chronic, it bounced off the post. Yeah, if KSA play each other, it'll be, of course, their own server. If USA play each other, it will be their own server. And if they play against each other, like KSA versus USA, I mean, then they'll be on European servers. All fair ping servers until the grand final, at which point we're going to need to do 1 series in this entire tournament. 1 out of 7 will need server swaps. It will be the grand final. That ball's got quite a lot of movement on it. TRK, a very, very favourable 50-50. He's once again able to influence the majority of these midfield plays, but Chronic going to match TRK's aggression. Good awareness off the incoming bump on that play. Chronic just fighting for the midfield in this match. He doesn't want to be on the back foot like he was in game 1. He was able to get the win, but I'm sure it didn't feel like a comfortable win. Never does when your opponent is controlling the majority of the plays. Chronic's controlling this one though. Looking for the wave dash shot to the bottom corner. TRK prevents the boost seal. The demo at the back post. Looks to get going on the counter attack straight away. Chronic doesn't have a lot of boost here. Unlike game 1, he didn't give TRK the fake on that air dribble, the low fake that TRK has been prioritizing. Unfortunately for Chronic, as I mentioned in game 1, TRK usually has a 50-50 on the back of these air dribbles, so even if his fake doesn't work, he still has the 50-50 to fall back on. And that leads into follow-up shots, or in this case, a boost seal and an open net. TRK with great positioning, just lets Chronic bump him, but into the boost he goes. Now he might try high air dribble here. He does indeed. Chronic not able to read the adaptation by TRK. TRK has been focusing primarily on the low air dribbles for this whole series. This time just a slight angle change and a little bit of a high pop in the last touch. Lifts in the 4th goal. Chronic still hasn't figured out a way to stop TRK's momentum. TRK's really dominated the kickoffs in both games. I mention it a lot these days, but I would love to see Chronic half flip on a diagonal kickoff at some point. I'd love to see him play for the delayed kickoffs, perhaps. Just something different in terms of timing, because if he's just going to arrive at the same time every time, TRK is easily going to have a rhythm. It looks like TRK is going to just run out the clock here. Oh, never mind. Goes for the double tap. What's that goal? I thought he was just going to play for possession, but TRK, with an insane burst of speed, confidently doubles in while Chronic's recovering. Absolutely unreal there by TRK. He didn't need to do that. At 4-0, he could have just played for some kind of lob shot on target, followed up by a bump, or followed up by a boost seal, followed up by consistent pressure, and can pretty much confirm the win, but he wants more. He's not done yet. Make it 6. TRK knew that Chronic was sort of forced to lunge in here at 5-0 down with not long left. You just have to go, but TRK too smart to fall for an early challenge like that. Mercilessly flicks the ball over Chronic for a 6th goal. He's going for a 7th here. He's not stopping. TRK angered by that game 1 loss, it would seem. Well, Chronic get 1 for the road. Pre-flips into the flip reset. And there it is. Great goal by Chronic. Just over a minute to go. And he's finally on the board. Very efficient movement mid-air there by Chronic. Pre-flip was absolutely necessary to get back to the ball. Chronic's main problem for both games 1 and 2 in the kickoff game. Needs to figure something out. It might be too late in this game to be worthwhile changing anything, but game 3, need to see something different from Chronic. It's fantastic movement by the American to stay with the ball there. Once the bump, TRK actually bumps Chronic into the ball. TRK's just won this game by positioning more aggressively than Chronic can handle. He's just found the angles at the right times. Chronic gets a second goal though, and that was a well-placed shot, certainly. It's most likely too late. TRK's kickoff game has been too good to allow Chronic to come back from a deficit like this. If this was a 4-goal deficit for TRK, I wouldn't put it past him scoring, because he has won the majority of the kickoffs, and that's really how you've got to calculate comeback potential in 1v1. You know, if a player's winning 9 kickoffs out of 10, then of course they can score 4 goals in 30 seconds, but if you're losing 9 kickoffs out of 10, you're really not going to have that many opportunities. Chronic gets another one, but it's not possible to come back all the way in game 2. TRK confirms the win with a routine post-pinch in defense. Chronic looking for one more to pad the stats, looking for one more for a little bit of momentum going into game 3. TRK is not even going to give him that. Comfortable game 2 win for the Saudi Arabian player. I don't think I mentioned, I should let you guys know that Chronic, when I told him that he was going to be facing TRK in this game, said that that was actually what they were going for. They were trying to get Chronic versus TRK. I think this is a matchup that he fancies stylistically, based on what we saw in game 1. You know, I think he might be on something there. He does look like he can be successful against TRK's defense. I think both players have looked very effective in offense against each other. TRK's kickoffs and TRK's midfield, for me, have been the differences. But look at Chronic's placement. Another flick to the top corner. TRK just a couple of millimeters too far forward in his net, but that's all Chronic needs. Did I watch today's World Cup match? I didn't actually. I was busy, couldn't watch it. But I mean, 3rd place matches are evil. I don't like them. No one should be forced to play a 3rd place match. No one wants to finish 3rd. If you can't win, what's the point? I think 3rd place matches are stupid. Unless, of course, RLCS do one in the future, then it is my job to say that they're not. But no, I do like 3rd place matches. For the medal. Yeah, if it's for an Olympic medal, fair enough, but I feel like you should just give both the teams the 3rd place medal and call it that. It's just the same server. Chronic's asking at the same server. His ping has gone up. Let me just pause it here. Because we can join. What is it? So let's look for another, and we'll start at 2-1, 434. Chronic has got a good point there. His ping's for some reason risen. I don't know why that's happened. Because that was the same server. But we'll look for another one. This is totally fair for anyone to ask, by the way. If their ping increases like it did, we can confirm just by checking it did go up. Then we can look for a new server. Yeah, 2-1 at 434 was the score. Okay, there we go. So that's much better. Perfect. Alright. Well, we just need the game to actually start, and then I can pause it. Right, let's go 2-1 at 434. The reason I'm waiting for it to actually start there is because countdown is a little bit messed up if you don't let the game start before pausing. So we're right back to where we were. Hopefully this is going to be a more stable server for Chronic to give him best chance in a very tough matchup. TRK is definitely woken up now after a slow start. Crunches a shot to the top corner. Chronic with no boost and no chance to save anything of that quality. See the pressure that TRK is able to exert on the ball. He just stays close enough that Chronic's always thinking he might be going for that. He might be going for this. He could be, you know, committing for that ball. But no, TRK is just, he's constantly got ball pressure, so it's hard for Chronic to get a read on when exactly he's going to go and when he's not planning on going. This is great from Chronic. He misses the double tap though. TRK is going to be in the area. Expert boost management by TRK as well. Chronic just cutting off the counter attack, but will still be pretty disappointed that he wasn't able to get a goal there. So many times today we're seeing TRK air dribble the ball towards Chronic and present a goal scoring threat while also having possession. In most occurrences of Chronic saving the shot. This is not one of them though. Chronic has managed to read him hard on that play. This is something that he needs to start doing more often, and as you can see, it's pretty much just going straight towards the ball. In game 1 he was flying too high into these challenges, getting faked and getting 50-50. Now he just went straight into the ball. Even if TRK is behind that, Chronic's in a good position. Look at Chronic as well. Just running into the back corner for the boost steal. This is much better from Chronic immediately after a kickoff. TRK is going to wrestle possession back for himself, but Chronic making him work for it, and again has a read on that low air dribble of TRK. TRK needs to go a bit high more often, I would say, but he's relying on these heavy ground shots. Chronic slightly out of position again. That's all it takes for TRK to score. Chronic thought that the ball was in a more safe location. TRK strikes it straight into the heart of the net. That's not a good kickoff for Chronic. He's landed in a very, very bad position as well. Chronic's still struggling every game. He's had issues with his kickoff. But yeah, he's just really messed that one up mechanically, hasn't he? He's to the left-hand side of the ball, and he's also dodging to the left, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're left of the ball, you should be dodging to the right, and vice versa. So a bit of a mechanical mistake there by Chronic. Like I said before, I just want to see him switch up the strategy a bit more. Keep TRK guessing. There's so many viable strats to go for. TRK is just in such a good rhythm right now with his kickoffs. It's really up to Chronic to try and get him out of it. How about that awareness from TRK? He's got a sixth sense. Anytime Chronic's creeping up behind him, TRK just effortlessly pops the ball right past him. TRK going to stay on the ball here. Just one touch to waste some time. That will give Chronic a nice bounce to air dribble with, but look at the speed of TRK. Straight into the flip reset challenge. Just like that, Chronic's offensive drive comes to an end. TRK just spots those openings, and you know, I've heard CJ say this many times when we're doing our ranking streams. You'll have probably heard this yourself if you've watched any of them, because every time he's talking about TRK, it's the same. I mean, it's the main thing that he likes to point out about him, and it's TRK's changes of pace that really separates him from other players. A lot of other players might be faster on average, a lot of other players might have more consistent speed, but TRK, when he decides to go, is right up there with the best in the world. Such an efficient path to the ball there, such a confident, zero hesitation play. You can see that Chronic wasn't expecting it. Chronic. Again, looking for that top corner flick. This time TRK does not advance too far into the center of the goal. Chronic's still in a nice position here. Perfect timing of the boost pickup. TRK is running pretty dry here. Chronic going for the bump and lands it. Well, that's clinical. I love the shot selection from Chronic here because he knows that TRK is on low boost in this position. So there's not really much room for him to maneuver. Air dribble bump. All the more effective if your opponent doesn't have the option of flying up and over the ball or up and over you in order to get a good angle on the ball. TRK way too high on that shot. Can Chronic punish him? Indeed he has. Well, that's a mistake. TRK letting Chronic back into the game. He had a free possession on kickoff, but he went for a double tap in a very, very tricky position and missed it. Chronic trying to do the impossible here, trying to put USA's B team in front. TRK just manages to save. A very, very threatening shot by Chronic. I mean, you can't do much more than that from Chronic's POV. It looked like one of those that was going to linger on the goal for a bit and then explode, but the explosion never came. TRK once again shows off his timing in defense. He slams the ball off the top of Chronic's car and does not overextend or miss the open net. 1:09 left in the game, 2-goal difference. Chronic looking a bit more effective for kickoffs, but TRK spots the fake and counters it with a boost steal. Chronic trying to get the flick off, even though he didn't have any boost to play with there. Really needs a goal sooner rather than later, but he's not going to get one. In fact, TRK looks like he's got another one. It's going to be a 3-goal difference. Chronic had a great chance, but his first touch just wasn't the best. It left a lot of work to do. He wasn't able to pull it off. Still, an impressive level for Chronic. I think this is probably a lot closer than many were expecting the series to be, but if he can't come back here, it will still be 2 games in a row for TRK. Chronic looking to muscle it through him, and he does. Not enough boost for TRK to recover. Chronic within 2. Kickoff starting to gain some momentum for Chronic. He needs to keep this up. What's he got in the straight spawn? And he hunts for that 2-goal comeback. Another delayed approach. Well, I like the switch-ups by Chronic. I've been waiting for this. I've been asking for it for a while now. If nothing else, it seems to have prevented TRK from completely taking control. And this is still a very good position for TRK. He knows better than to center the ball in front of his own net here. He's just wasting so much time. And only centers it once an opening presents itself. TRK looking to end game 3 in style. 3-goal difference will be too much for Chronic to work with. Now remember, if Chronic loses this, that'll be the last time that you see him today in this matchup. TRK could be back later on if one of his teammates loses to either Flitz or Evo. But when you lose, you're out. That's why both teams need to pick a winner to come back and play a second time. If both teams can get a win, at least one win out of the first 3 matches. Well, after a good start for Chronic, it's all gone wrong. He actually picked up the kickoffs. That was his best game in terms of kickoffs, even though it wasn't great at the start. He figured something out towards the end. Started to be, I think, more effective with the kickoff games. That bodes well for game 4, but the rest of the game, really not much to say. TRK, too good. Can Chronic step it up again? Sorry about that, I just had to mute for a second there, but simply another kickoff goal for TRK. Roas versus Daniel after that. Remember, it's not going to be Daniel today. Daniel's playing tomorrow. If you want to see Roas versus Daniel, you'll need to wait for the semi-final, and that's if both the Saudi Arabia and USA A teams win today and tomorrow against their B team counterparts. Quick tie game for Chronic. TRK looking to snipe the bottom corner. Accidentally hits the post flush. Oh yeah, I forgot to update the overlay. Yeah, I was distracted there for a second between games, but you guys always keeping me right. I don't think Chronic should really worry too much about switching his offensive strategy. I think he's been very effective in this. Oh, water recovery. How's TRK made it back to that ball? Yeah, I think Chronic looks good in offense. I like what I'm seeing there. I just want to see more of those. More variety from the kickoffs like we saw at the end of game 3. If he can keep that up, then that's going to at least keep TRK guessing. Well, TRK spotted an opening there that I don't think many players would have seen. That's really well played. Chips it around Chronic with a quick steer into the ball. And even got a bump for his trouble. 2-1. Did take TRK that one game to get back into the swing of things, but he's really rolling now. His level is undeniable. Chronic on the back foot. He needs 2 game wins in a row. It looks like just getting one will be mightily impressive. TRK not getting the best landing there. Strong 50-50 by Chronic. Look at this by TRK. He's really passing the ball to himself very well off walls. First his side wall, now the back wall. Look how he sets himself up for shots here, just placing it into the curve. I love that approach as well. Full 360 air roll to get around the ball with a dodge intact, which he slams into the net from distance. TRK collects yet another kickoff possession. This one in his back corner though, so Chronic will have boost to defend with. Looks like Chronic might have got a turnover of possession. He didn't want to rush it. Low air dribble bucket for Chronic. TRK challenges right as the ball bounces. The only way that Chronic could have stopped that is with a pogo shot. It's a great boost pick up there by Chronic. He's got TRK retreating. The dodge from TRK, not ideal for him in that position. TRK still looking so quick when he just decides to go to the ball. He's circling around the box now, looking for an opening, and there it is, 4-1. I love the first touch here from TRK. It's so vertical that Chronic really had to fly forward to really have any chance of doing something in this play, and if he does fly forward, TRK will just lift the ball even higher. That first touch gave TRK so many options. If Chronic advances, he'll just lift it. If Chronic stays where he is, he'll just let the ball come down and shoot it. 5-1. Chronic still losing the majority of the kickoffs. It seems like when he dodges into the ball, he just gets it a bit too side on. He's not goal side enough to match TRK's perfect mechanics on the kickoff. And it's the same advice I gave to Chronic when he was getting farmed by jacking kickoffs in a recent match that they played in a Gen G King of the Hill. I told him you've got to be more goal side in your kickoff. I think Chronic's weakness a lot of the time is that he gets just a touch too much side on it and leaves himself very vulnerable to kickoffs straight down the middle. TRK complimenting Chronic in the quick chat for this one. I don't think he expected Chronic to go low here. After the flip reset, looks like Chronic was able to maneuver to the side of the ball and slot it in an angle TRK didn't expect. Love that from Chronic. He's not giving up. He's still fighting. The delayed kickoff will lead to yet another chance on net, but he couldn't figure out what he wanted to do with that one. He was somewhere between a catch and a reset. Ended up doing neither. TRK crosses the box, seals yet another boost. So many times today we've seen him make these careful moves. He's not relinquishing ball pressure when he goes for these boost steals. He's staying active. TRK is such a deceptive player. How has he come away with that one with a 50-50 win? TRK up by 4 again. Chronic thought that he was going to be the player with the stronger challenge. TRK just gets out Fennec right behind the ball. It's the pixel dead center. Chronic getting a bit of a win on that kickoff, but it's not bounced kindly for him, so TRK is going to be the player to come away with it again. Seems like everything's going right for TRK from the center circle. He's going to be so tough to beat. You know, Chronic's the one that USAB wanted to be playing against him. Despite all of his efforts, he still trails, but his attack is looking good, guys. I really do rate Chronic's attack in this matchup. He's so efficient. He's so clinical with these aerial plays. Like I said before, the consistent problem, and it's not an easy problem to solve, is that midfield pressure. TRK has just got more opportunities, I think thanks to his aggression. That is crazy. TRK has somehow dodged an air dribble bump and saved a shot by landing upside down on his own crossbar. That might be the first time I've ever seen it executed in that manner. Chronic returned the previous quick chat compliment with one of his own. I think he's probably at this moment thinking, what am I supposed to do? This guy is cerebral. He's on a different plane of existence, and he's not wrong. TRK did not take long to get back to his usual self. He looks unstoppable. He's heard all this talk about Rawas, Daniel, apparently Jack, best 1v1 player on the planet. He's heard a lot about, well, if Yan came back, maybe he'd be the best, and TRK is here to show everybody that he's never left that throne. He's here to sit firmly on it again. Chronic with a lot of work needing to be done on his kickoff game still. I don't think that would have made enough of a difference. TRK today is just on a different level. He's on another level from Chronic. USA had that glimmer of hope after game 1, but it was all KSA since then. 3-1. KSA took the first series. GG's. Unreal. Do you guys want to see that save again? I'm just going to go ahead and show it. I feel like the answer is going to be yes. Let's take a look at that save before we get the next series up and running. Was it the last save of the game? It wasn't right at the end of the game. I wish there was a faster way to skip through this. Oh, was it this one? Oh yeah, it was this one. This is actually, this is so insane. We watched it from TRK's POV. I wanted to watch him from Chronic's POV, see what he saw on this. Oh no, it's not on. Hold on a second here. It's on the wrong camera. Chronic player view. There we go. Let's take a look at what Chronic saw. We only saw TRK POV, which is obviously insane. Oh my goodness, Chronic's not even done badly there, you know, because Chronic, he saw what TRK was doing. He saw that TRK, look at that, so Chronic turns off ball cam and he can see in front of him there to see what TRK is doing, and he spots him flying up in the air. So Chronic actually aims himself in the correct direction. He would have made contact with TRK here had it not been for TRK dropping off the crossbar. See right there, Chronic actually, he would have nailed it if TRK was on the crossbar like Chronic expected it to be, but TRK just flew up early so that he could then fall off the crossbar, baiting Chronic to try and bump him too high, and then still make the save. That's so insane. I don't think I've seen a bigger brain save in quite a while. That's like, this is ROAS level of defense. Totally intentional. Oh, absolutely. This looks intentional to me. I mean, he flies up there. I don't think he has a flip. The reason being that his front wheels didn't actually hit the crossbar there. So did they? I think one of the wheels might have missed the crossbar. Let's take another look. Because I feel like if he had a flip, he would have flipped. Let's see. Did his front wheel hit the crossbar? No, that wheel didn't hit the crossbar. So TRK doesn't have a flip here. That's the only mistake that he made. I think he tried to get a flip, but even without one, he was still able to make the save by just falling onto the ball. And Chronic, I think, made a good attempt here. He did so well. I mean, a lot of players in this position would just keep air dribbling, but Chronic had the wherewithal to turn off ball cam, spotted TRK jumping, and then flew right at him. I mean, he can't see anything at the last second because the ball obscures his vision, but Chronic's he played that about as well as you can hope to play. I mean, that's just too good from TRK. Absolutely ridiculous defense.